Welcome back to the latest installment of the Desert Tiger podcast. Whether you guys are downloading or streaming this episode of the show, we are very thankful for that. And if you haven't already gone and hit the follow or subscribe button, what are you guys waiting for? That is the best way to stay up to date with what is happening here at Desert Tiger, to make sure that you guys catch every single episode every single Thursday. And if you guys want to support the show a little bit more than that, you can head on over to our social media and check out our brand new t-shirts. Maybe pick one up for yourself because you know you're going to look fresh and stylish in them. So what are you waiting for on that as well? So while you guys type that in, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off.
Music, athletics, arts, and entertainment. The Desert Tiger Podcast with Colton Geschwader.
That's right, it's me, it's your boy Colton G here on the DTP once again. That's right, the Desert Tiger Podcast is back after taking 1 week off. We had to take a well-deserved week off to take care of some things, but don't worry about that. We're not going anywhere. We are here. We're back on schedule, and we have a ton of killer interviews coming up for you guys, just like today's interview with violin extremist Kytami. So what exactly is a violin extremist, you might ask? Well, we're going to delve into that with Kytami herself and her DJ Phonic Ops. We're going to discuss with her how she was classically trained at very young and how she started playing some fiddle in bars until she decided she aspired more from her music. That she didn't want to just play that classical style that she had been taught for most of her life. That she wanted to get into the rhythms of drum and bass and hip hop. That she wanted to explore different genres while still keeping to the training that she loved so much. So we're going to discuss with Kytami exactly what were the difficulties of transitioning into the drum and bass and EDM scenes. We're going to talk to her about some of the groups that she worked with while she was discovering who she was inside of this new musical scape, like her work with Delhi to Dublin. We're going to discuss with her some of the successes that she has found, some of the places that she has been able to travel, some of the difficulties that she has had to face. And of course, we're going to talk about what does the future hold for Phonic Ops and Kytami. What are they doing this summer? They're hitting up a ton of different festivals. They are going to be dropping some new music really soon. So we're going to get behind all of that. We're going to try and get as much of the story of Kytami as we can in about 30 minutes. So I hope that you guys are ready to delve more into the background of this violinist extremist. And of course, before we jump into our interview with Kytami herself, we need to play for you some of her music so that you can get a better understanding of what she is doing with her experimentation and exploration of not only the violin, but electronic music. This track is the latest single off of an EP that she released last year entitled Renegade. This song is called Brave the Storm.
Desert Tiger Podcast.
We were in London last month. We stayed right by there. We were in West London. We were watching people just do nothing every day, and then we're like, "Oh my god, we need to take the tube to that stop." Yeah, so I know, but we didn't. We were right there though.
It makes me want to start a pirate radio station, but I work for a legitimate radio station, so I can't. It's conflict of interest. I actually have to be on air at 9 a.m. tomorrow, so
they consider it a legitimate radio station.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean,
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
I mean, it broadcasts as far as Shepherd's Bush, so
That's pretty sick.
that's what they say, right?
What's the temperature like?
Isn't that nice when hotels podcast?
Look at shows.
You're missing all the great. This is what you're missing all the great shit.
Oh, this is recording.
Is this all being recorded?
This is all being recorded right now.
So high.
This mic oscillates.
Actually, you know what? Those blue mics are awesome.
That's
They are
crazy.
fantastic.
They are
So-
fucking amazing.
Yeah, we're literally going right now. We're here.
You know, this is Phonic Ops.
Tell me that there's
So
like a
this is
fan.
Phonic
DJ,
Ops. DJ
producer.
Phonic Ops. Right.
I'm
Sweet.
Kytami.
Hi, Tammy.
And I'm Johnson Phonic.
Johnson Phonic.
Johnson Phonic.
Johnson Phonic.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just symphonic.
We're all hanging out here in Kelowna. All right.
The
So
hottest green room in
not like
Kelowna.
the hottest
Definitely.
green room.
the
Yes,
hottest.
definitely the hottest. Boom.
Competition for
And by
that.
hot, I don't mean like it's supposed to be like
I mean, yeah, there's some beers and whatnot, but other than that, it ain't too crazy.
Too bad.
What is the beers coming?
We're empty.
Or is it?
So you,
That's
why don't you go ask for
ribbons? Why don't you ask when the sub's not loud enough and the highs are too high?
The Pabst Blue ribbons.
Just kidding, wait, you're not recording, are you?
Oh,
No,
totally.
shit's getting real. Shit's getting real right now.
Oh shit.
But that's how, I mean, this is what I put up with daily. You know, that was actually tame.
Yeah.
It's 'cause we're recording.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's just how it always is.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice.
No worries at all. All right, so you are the violin extremist, right?
Apparently.
Apparently. So where does that start? Where did your musical dreams and aspirations begin?
When I started wanting to make my own music, I was actually fiddling in an Irish pub, but I was like playing cover songs, and I was like, no, this is not the kind of music I want to be playing. I was wanting to make the kind of music that was influencing me at the time, which was mostly hip hop and drum and bass.
Yeah.
But I didn't know at the time, like I didn't know any other violinist that was doing anything even like that. So didn't really have a lot of confidence, or or knowledge of how to even start going about doing that.
Yeah.
So my plan actually was to move to England, because I knew that was where like a lot of the music that I like, drum and bass, hip hop, the kind of music that I like was coming out of there. And I was like, oh, that's where I got to go. And then I moved to Vancouver, and then I kind of just stopped there. And that's where I started collaborating with people.
Okay.
And so I put out an album that was sort of very experimental and probably not all that good. And I just ride around my bike and like I deliver it to record stores and I.
Completion is dope.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I like show up at clubs and I plug in, and some DJs liked it, some didn't. At one point I was playing like 5 different bands, just trying to experiment really and just seeing where like the boundaries that I could push. So maybe that's where Violinist extremist comes from.
Okay. All right. So where are you originally from then?
I'm from Vancouver originally.
Okay.
I was born pretty much raised Vancouver, always on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Victoria now.
Oh, okay.
But always on the road, always touring.
Mhm.
It's crazy. Music has taken me like all over the place. Phonic Ops and I were just in Estonia,
Oh, wow.
so that was kind of new ground for us. I've been trying to get over to that side of the world for a a while, like I was just saying. So that was pretty sick.
So after that first record, did you go and do like some group efforts before you came back to sort of like the more focusing on your music more from like a solo effort, or
yeah, like I was like I said, I was in 5 different bands, and then one of those bands called Delhi to Dublin took off, and that showed me like sort of the next level of how things could be, and I learned a lot from playing and collaborating with those guys. But my influences were very, very, very different from them, and I wasn't super into the world music styles. I really like kind of darker, more angrier bass music. So really wanted to just
something
see
a
what I
little
could,
more experimental.
Yeah,
I
it's
did,
a little bit more me.
I saw those guys perform last week, so I can kind of understand that for sure.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Experimental, maybe not as accessible, but whatever, fuck it.
Fair enough, right? Like, you gotta chase your dreams more so than trying to chase what is hot right now and what you think is going to sell.
Yeah, it's never really been a consideration of mine. Obviously, you get influenced by trends. I think it's impossible to not be. I don't, actually maybe not influenced by trends, maybe more inspired by things going on around, and luckily we live in a part of the world where we have a lot of dope shit happening, and I get to hear a lot of good stuff, and I travel a lot and get to hear a lot of really great underground music. So that influences me.
Okay. So when you broke off from Delhi to Dublin, right away, did you hook up with Phonic Ops, or were you hooking up with different producers?
No, I didn't. I put out a mix with a DJ called The Phonograph, also from Victoria, and we were doing some shows together. And Phonic Ops and I met actually here in Kelowna at Center of Gravity. He was doing like a hip hop thing, and I was playing as well. We were playing the same stage, and I think he reached out to me on Twitter, right? You're like, oh yo, like what you're doing. You posted my video.
And sure, yeah.
I checked out all your music, all your mixes on
I didn't even think I'd hear back. I was just like, dope, stoked to check this out or share the same stage, you know?
Yeah, but I checked out all his sounds, and I really liked what I heard, so that's why I got back. And I booked a tour through BC, a winter tour, got him and the MC that he was working with at the time to open for us, Mishap. And then we started talking about maybe doing a mix, an EP, or I can't.
A mix first.
A mix first, yeah.
Realize how hard it was to mix your violin first, and then do an EP.
A nightmare, actually. It was an absolute nightmare to mix my violin.
But then, that led to the EP after that.
Yeah, and then we're in deep now. How many shows? Hundreds of shows now.
Lots of shows now, yeah.
Yeah, we have some things in the work. We put out an EP. We did 2 mixes, and got a bunch of shit coming up this summer.
Awesome.
So,
you got, like, from the looks of it, you guys plan on touring around quite a bit, hitting a few different festivals.
Yeah, we're out on the East Coast for a bit. We've got some stuff out here. We've got Electric Love. What else?
Valhalla, Future Forest, then Electric Love. That's that June week.
Yeah. Super hard when I'm not looking at my calendar.
Type it all in, and then
Rock the Shores. So it's kind of cool what we do, like with the violin. I feel like we have the ability to go not just play electronic music festivals, but we get booked for like other like sort of different like more live band type festivals as well. So it's very interesting. We have the ability to, I think, transcend.
Opens up the outreach, and you can kind of go between genres and reach those types of people that maybe you necessarily wouldn't listen to that type of music.
100%. Yeah, that was the biggest thing I noticed when I first started working with her. Was like we could be playing. Like she was always like, I want the umbrella she likes to vary it up, but she wanted the umbrella to be drum and bass, and then we would be playing drum and bass in these like somewhere where you would never expect to be playing that, and it would never work just like as a DJ really, but for some reason with her playing the violin, it would like bridge this gap, right? So people could appreciate the musicianship going on and the performance, and as long as it was like good music, it didn't matter. Like that's the thing, good music's good music. It doesn't really matter the genre, right? So
yeah, without a doubt, as long as it's accessible and it sounds good, then people are going to be able to groove to it.
Sort of like bridging the gap. Yeah.
Which is pretty fantastic. You got to be able to bridge those barriers that people seem to like to try and throw in the way.
Exactly.
It's nice to hear you saying that, because it's not always easy to sit on that fence though between electronic world and live, because in a way you might not be accepted by either. So it's challenging as well.
No, exactly. It's a huge step because you're not really sure if you're going to be accepted by both groups or just one, or if both of them are just sort of going to leave you flat on your face.
But I'm of mixed heritage, and I always hear people talking about like, oh, I don't know what like other people of mixed heritage being like, oh, I never felt like accepted by either. But in a way, I think it's a strength because you can draw on influences from both, which makes it even more interesting.
Yes, without a doubt. It gives you a lot of influence and ability to take it in all sorts of different directions, because there's all sorts of influence coming from different cultures. So going from covering like traditional songs to applying yourself to the drum and bass EDM spectrum without like really having anyone else to like influence that, how difficult was it to initially like actually apply the violin to the drum and bass? Was it something that like naturally came to your mind? Like, was it something that you had like the vision of naturally, or was it hard work?
It made me just feel excited. That's all. Like when I started to come, it just made me feel excited inside. But yeah, it took years. There's no formula to follow, so it took a long time. Like I talked about, like the confidence. I wish I almost had someone to follow, because then I could be like, this is how it is, and I can imitate or whatever. But there was none of that when I had the idea.
Yeah, you just sort of had to pave your own path.
Yeah. I would say it took years.
Okay, so now.
But even now, I'm like, I still haven't written that song, or I still struggle daily with like, my violin doesn't sound the way I want it to sound, or I feel like I could write a better song. But I don't think that'll ever go away.
Oh, absolutely. It's, as an artist, you always feel like you have the ability to grow, and as you continue to learn, more opportunities open up that you didn't see before.
Yeah, I hope I always feel that. Otherwise, I mean, how horrible would it be to be like, oh no, I've done everything. I've made it. I don't know if that actually even really.
What am I gonna put on this album? Because I've done it all before.
No, I don't. I never want to be in that place ever.
Well, maybe part of being a trailblazer of your own is hopefully you won't be able to fall into that rut. Awesome. So, exactly how long have you been going at this for then?
Well, it's been through different incarnations.
Yeah.
But let's just say a while.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to give specific years because I don't want to get depressed about it. Fair enough. But all I can say is that, man, every step of the way has been so interesting and amazing. Like when I kind of reflect on it, it's actually taken me places where I've never ever thought I'd go. And I still have like goals, like people I'd love to collaborate with, places I'd love to take. I still love my music music to get distributed a bit more widely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have lots of places I still want to go.
Definitely, without a doubt. Before we get into some of that future, let's take a look more so into the past, some of those experiences. Do you have any favorite moments, any favorite memories, experiences from your own solo projects, from working with different groups, just anything that just stands out for you from over the years?
Man, so many. It's really hard to say. Really hard to say. Like, from playing in a Muslim country, like that was really crazy, really wild, because, you know, going somewhere like that where they're like, okay, we can't show any skin, or, you know, and you see women fully covered. That was very interesting. And if anyone to see me perform, knows that I'm very like out there. And,
Come from the open EDM culture.
Yeah. And then also, some of my favorite moments were just showing up at these really small towns where you would never go, like small towns in the US or Canada. And those are some of the craziest shows, honestly, because I feel like people are so open to whatever. Like, just a good beats, good music, good energy, and yeah, I feel like almost that's opened my mind in a bigger way, like knowing that instead of being like, oh, people in like small towns don't know anything, it's actually the opposite. I feel like those are some of my, honestly, most favorite places.
Well, it's
my music.
A lot of those places get avoided by music and tours, unfortunately, so they're usually very accepting when someone's actually willing to come out and party with them and actually give them something to do.
Well, they all often have their own like really cool scenes going on. You know, like they're artists that I would never be exposed to, because they're not really able to travel outside of their own, you know, areas. So that's what I think is cool about it.
No, definitely too, because it gives you an eye on what possibly could be breaking out of different areas as well, and like gives you an open scope of like what is the music scene in different areas, and how is it different from one province to the next, or even the next town to the next.
Oh yeah, huge differences. You'd never expect.
Oh, definitely.
Super interesting.
It's amazing just how one town can like make a huge difference between, oh no, we're an indie rock town, we're not into the electronic scene.
Yeah, and they're only like 50 kilometers apart. Yeah.
No, exactly, and then you have the few kids in that one town that are like, oh, I'm tired of driving to this other place, I hate where I'm from. Okay, so who are some of your high school influences? Some of the artists that you just couldn't live without back when you were in those hard times, those really influential years?
I remember going on like a road trip with my mom. We like drove to Disneyland.
Ooh.
And we only had tapes in the car. And the tapes I had on rotation were like The Police, and I remember had like the Beastie Boys and like Depeche Mode. That's going a little bit back now, but I don't know. Like it's, and then I really remember. I remember the first place I was when I heard like Nirvana, and like when grunge kind of really got me, and like high school. Let's not delve into that too much.
Okay.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
There is still a ton of my interview with Kytami left to go. We still delve into a bunch of other topics, so don't go anywhere. Of course, we need to take a small break. I need to play you another track off of her latest album. Of course, it's going to be the title track off that latest album. We're going to let you know about that right away. But of course, I need to ask you guys, the listeners of the DTP, one simple question. Have you guys followed us on social media yet? Have you gone ahead and liked us on Facebook, followed us on Twitter or Instagram? Have you been keeping up on all the behind the scenes action that is going on here with Desert Tiger? We like to keep you guys as informed as we possibly can with everything that is going on, everything that is happening, everything that we are doing to keep you guys entertained and in the know with your favorite musicians, comedians, actors, authors, and the like. And of course, have you guys seen our new t-shirts that are available for sale right now? You can go ahead and message me on any of those platforms, or you can even email me at desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. You can go ahead and tell me that you want to rep one of these sick shirts. It's the same logo as that sweater I recently gave away, so you guys know that it's going to be sick. It's white, it's on a black t-shirt, it's going to pop. If enough people want it in black on a white t-shirt, like reversed, flip it, you know, you guys just gotta let me know. We can possibly get that order ready to go. So get yourselves on our social media, follow us, stay up to date with what's going on with Desert Tiger, cop yourself a shirt, represent the podcast, let everybody you see that sees you know what the DTP is about and how much you love the show. Alright, you guys, without further ado, we're about to give you the title track off Kytami's latest release. It dropped last year. This is Renegade.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
First live music experience.
Oh shit. Like party or like concert?
First concert, like first artist you've ever seen, whether it was small, whether it was big.
Well, you know, I was trained classically.
Okay.
So I was going to classical music concerts and orchestras since I was I think my first one was when I was 5.
Oh wow. A lot of people wouldn't get that experience when they're younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I was part of my training was that we would have to perform 4 times a year with our orchestra in the Orpheum in Vancouver. So
Wow.
yeah, it was very, very classically orientated.
So kind of gets you through some of that stage fright very early on.
Yeah, they got us up on stage when I was, I think, 3.
Huh.
Even just to take a bow.
Yeah.
Before I even could play any piece all the way through.
Wow.
They get you up on stage, take a bow, and then you get off stage. And then next year I would know one piece, and you'd come up and play that one piece, and then take a bow and leave the stage. And then as you got older, you would be able to play all the pieces.
Okay. So your parents got you into the classical training very early on in your life then?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you play anything else other than the violin?
I played piano because that was part of the requirement to get to a certain level. And I've started recently playing the bass, but I mean, obviously violin is my main instrument. Piano, I probably let it slide a little bit more than I'd like, but
It's fair.
yeah.
Understandable. I mean, you can only spend so much time, especially if you're touring around the world. And harder to carry a piano with you than it is a violin.
No kidding. My sister played the cello, and I was kind of jealous because my mom would always drive her into her lessons because she had this big cello. But then she told me to take the bus all the time.
Here's some pocket change. Take the bus. Okay, so what does the future hold for the violin extremist Kytami?
Well, the immediate future holds some. I want to release some singles and another mix, and then we talked about before, we've got a bunch of festivals this summer out east and on the coast here. I really want to get back over to Europe, so I don't have anything booked right now, but I'm definitely looking that direction. And I used to do 1 tour a year in the States, and I kind of let that go because it's really, really, it's a lot of work. And I do all my own, get all my own visas, and I book all my own contracts. And the States, they don't make it too easy these days.
Very DIY, and they try and still get as many cents out of you as they possibly can.
Yeah, so that it kind of made me feel like I wasn't that into, and I don't want to mess it up, so I definitely want to get my visas and do it properly, but it is pretty expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of organizing. So.
And it's if you get denied a visa to have to go back and oh, sorry, I can't make this tour work because X or Y.
Oh yeah. No, I wish they made it a little bit easier. That would be great. But also, I did attend a music conference in Singapore a couple years ago, and I've always been interested in what's happening over in Asia. So that would be amazing. These are just these are goals, whether or not it's concrete. We'll just have to see.
This is what hopefully the future holds within itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some releases on some bigger labels, that would be amazing. But until that happens, I'll just be in the studio working on new music. And
who are some musicians that you would hope to collaborate with in the near future?
Collaboration is an interesting one because obviously there's a lot of producers and musicians that I highly respect, but every single collab that has ever happened in my life has happened very organically.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like when I was speaking with Phonicops,
Mm-hmm.
it just sort of, I never would have thought that it would have turned into this long-term collab that it did.
Yeah, definitely.
But we just kind of decided to do one project, and we were on the same vibe, and it's turned into like many years. And I have collaborated with other people along the way,
Mm-hmm.
but that's how I take it. Like I like to get in the room with people. I like to feel it out, and
Mm-hmm.
you never know. It's a lot of people I respect, and we could try to do stuff, but
Mm-hmm. But you don't want to force it.
No, it has to sort of just happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I really feel what you're doing,
Mhm.
and
If
hopefully
you-
they're feeling the same way, and you're on the same page,
Mhm.
and you have fun doing that.
Mm-hmm. End up in the same room, and suddenly, like, you guys just start grooving, and
Yeah,
it just hits the page naturally.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so you got to do a piece for the TED Talk. Was it in Victoria? Was the one there?
Yeah, it was in Victoria. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I was surprised they asked me. So that was kind of cool that they thought I was doing something a little different. And public speaking doesn't come that easily to me. So
Yeah.
I had to write this speech, and honestly, I practiced it day and night. I was in the shower, repeating it over and over again, and that was like the most challenging thing about that side of it. Got me a little bit out of my comfort zone, but
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
honored to be asked, really.
Because it's a little bit of a step outside of what the TED Talk naturally like tries to bring to their stage as well.
Yeah.
Because you kind of had like the performance tied in there too, and like the way that you introduced it
Yeah.
was like
What
very
did
well
you?
done.
Oh, you thought so?
Huh?
You thought so?
Oh, I watched it and I thought it was very well done.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm glad to hear that.
No, it was very well done. Just the way that you introduced the music and like you just build into it, it was very nicely done. And
Cool.
considering most of them are just like spoken word and everything, it was a very nice change.
Oh, sweet.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. 'Cause I think there's a lot of dislikes on that, actually.
There's always gonna be haters, right?
That's the nature of the internet.
That's kind of how you know that you made it sometimes. 'Cause you've got cranky old people with 74 friends sharing your stuff, but like trashing you at the same time.
I actually try not to look too much at numbers and likes, because it will like keep you up at night.
You can't.
No, and yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people like it does kind of mean something. That people will be like, oh, I want to book you. Oh, she only has this many likes on this, but I don't know. I don't think that should dictate what you're doing in your art. Like,
No, definitely not. And is I find like some musicians try and pull their weight with, oh, we have this many likes, and so we think we're worth X, and it's like, okay, but how active is said audience? And like you can get likes, but how many of them did you pay for? How
Totally.
many,
It's
like,
not.
how many of it was like organic people that you played in front of or met and they actually shook your hand and told you that was a great show, or anything of that sort?
It's an interesting time we live in. Definitely.
No, there's a lot of people who are trying to create an illusion of what they are, and then there's a lot of people who are like you, who are just being honest about their art, and if they make it, awesome. If they don't, fuck it.
That's come up actually a few times. Like, oh, why don't you just buy a few more likes on this or that? But I prefer to actually see how my stuff really is resonating. And when you buy it, you can't know.
No, exactly,
What
because
really is happening.
is they can hit that, but are they actually like, they can press like, but are they actually paying attention to it? Are they actually following it, and do they actually care? Or it's like if it's someone that's actually been touched by your music or has met you or anything of that sort, generally that's an actual fan, and that's worth way more than spending money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, awesome. Well, it sounds like you got quite the party going on down there, so maybe I'll let you get to that. So before I ask my last question, where can my audience find Kytami?
Well, I do have some videos on YouTube, and I'm on Spotify, and but SoundCloud, I'm able to put up mixes that I can't put up on Spotify. So I have my albums there, but I have some of my mixes and older stuff on SoundCloud. And if you're talking about live shows, which is my favorite part, then just check my website. Hopefully I'm coming to a place near where people might be listening.
Over 50 different countries, so that's quite possible.
Let's hope.
Alright, so if you had to give a message to your fans, to anybody out there who maybe is afraid to take a step that maybe doesn't have someone there to guide them like you did, what words of advice or hope would you give them?
Oh man, it's hard. Like it's but what's the alternative? Really, the alternative kind of sucks. So why not just give it a shot? Like if you have something that you feel undeniably, I think that actually is. Sorry, going off on a tangent here. It's worse to not know what it is you want to do. That I've been in that place where I'm like,
same.
Doesn't it suck? Like, oh, what do I do now? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what's inspiring me. I don't know.
Oh, exactly. It's like driving around and waiting in parking lots and like just talking to people is more like inspiring to me as a human being than like anything else I think I've ever done in my entire life. That's just
awesome.
Like, it's weird, but at the same time, cool.
Is that what you're doing?
This? Yeah, just running around, podcasting, I promote shows, like, just do my own thing. Anything and anything that I can do with entertainment.
So forging your own path. So what would you have to say to people?
What would I have to say to people?
About that.
Wow. You just have to do it. You just have to take that shot no matter how scary or terrifying or gut-wrenching it could possibly be, because like you said, it's to not know is so much worse. Because like I almost actually lost my life in an accident once. And it's like, that led me to playing in a band, because like, before that I was like, oh man, I'll never get the chance to play music. And then after that happened, I was like, I need to play music right now.
Yeah.
Because it was like, this might never happen again. So it's just it's like, all it takes is seconds for everything to go wrong. But it could take your entire life of working for everything to go right, but I'd rather everything go right.
I've heard that before, that people say like, or people that have had a near-death experience, that changed the direction that's when the moment they realize that they should seize their dreams or like, really chase after their dreams. But it's unfortunate that that's what it takes sometimes.
Yes, definitely.
But I understand it too. I mean, there are other pressures of life, like how do you pay your rent, how do you feed yourself. But I don't know. I've never been one to follow the status quo.
Not very good at it either.
No, I suck at it. Makes me
Terrible.
angry, actually.
Yes,
Makes me feel
exactly.
very angry. I don't like to. I'm
Just
not
get
really
there.
an angry person. But
Try to avoid it. That's why we just go out in nature and deal with music.
And we are pretty lucky that we live in a pretty forgiving country where we can do that. Not everyone
Yes.
does, and I recognize that.
Yes, that's another reason why we need to take those opportunities is because
Good point.
not everybody has the chance to do that. And
And I just want to give shout outs to people living in those kinds of countries or societies where they do have more restrictions. It's even more of a challenge.
it definitely is, and if they're taking those risks to try and be themselves an individual, and it's terrible that being an individual is considered as taking a risk. Oh, that's
Wow.
lovely.
Wow.
Lovely sound. But either way,
What is that?
it's an air compressor. Okay. Shout out to the air compressor that totally just butted in.
I think it was agreeing with what we were saying.
I think it was agreeing too. It just couldn't hold back anymore. Even the air compressors that are being discriminated against need their chance to blow air.
Wow, it had been silent for so long.
I'm actually amazed. All right, well, thank you so very
Awesome.
much.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, you guys, unfortunately, it is that time again. It is the end of the show, but of course, before we end things off, we need to take a moment to thank our guest today, who of course was Kytami. I want to thank Kytami for taking time before her show last Friday in Kelowna at Doc Willoughby's to sit down and discuss her career, her passions, and what some of her dreams are as well. I also want to thank Phonic Ops and John Symphonic for contributing to parts of the conversation, even though they couldn't be there for the whole thing. John was the one who was bumping beats pretty much through most of the interview, so if you were enjoying what was playing, he was the man throwing that down. I also want to go ahead and thank you guys, of course, for tuning in to this episode of Desert Tiger. You guys have been insane. I love you so much. Your support for the show has been outrageous in the last 7 or 8 months. For us to be a top 20 podcast worldwide and to be getting the opportunities that I am getting with this is amazing, and it's very much in part thanks to you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for hitting that subscribe and follow button, for sharing the show with your friends, for buying Desert Tiger t-shirts so that I can travel and get more interviews, because the more you guys support the show, the more that the show can grow and expand. So together as a community, we can grow. And if you guys want to refer to me, an artist you think that I should interview, an actor, a comedian, anyone up that, hit me up on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also email me, even if you want to throw your band at me and just say hey, we think that we might be good for the show. Do you want to check us out and maybe tell us what you think? Hi, Tucker. That's Tucker. Of course, you guys have heard him before. So anyway, you can hit us up at our email, desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you, even if it's just a shout out and tell us how much you love the show. We love hearing that as well. So now that we've gone and thanked our guests today, now that we've gone and thanked you, we have to go ahead and give you one last thing before we can close the show. And of course, the longtime listeners of the DTP know that is our quote, to leave you a little bit inspired, to leave you a little bit motivated, to give you the energy you need to get into your weekend to tackle everything that is ahead of you. So the quote today comes from Andy Frisella. The difference between everything you could be and everything you are comes down to the smallest details. Have a good weekend, everybody.
The Desert Tiger Podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review. iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks for listening.